This is Tuesday, June 19th. There are 29 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2018. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
VANUHTEE, go. Oh my god, I love LiveJournal, and my LiveJournal loves me. Current food is hyperactive, current music, Refuse 73. I love the color scheme in pink and purple.
Good evening. I am your host, James Riley, and joining me on the podcast tonight, as always, Carrie Dixon.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
And our special guest from IGN, Laura Prudom.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us, and welcome everyone to SDConCast. We'll be taking comments and questions at the end of the show and also at the end of Laura's segment, so you can ask some questions about the TV shows of Comic-Con. If you have any, send them in by tweeting us at SD_comic_con or use the hashtag SDConCast. We will also be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you want to comment there. Okay, so Laura, before we get started, why don't you tell us a little about yourself for anyone who doesn't know?
I am the executive TV editor at IGN, taking over for the amazing Eric Goldman, who I know was a guest on the podcast many times. So I have big shoes to fill there, I know, but hopefully I will not embarrass myself too much. Before that, I was the TV editor over at Mashable, and before that, the TV news editor at Variety. So I've been around. This is probably my 8th Comic-Con, so I like to consider myself a pro at this point, but every year there's something surprising and new and depressing. So
Depressing, that's not good.
Only in terms of my lack of sleep or lack of food or lack of hygiene or whatever else.
That's just Comic-Con. That's just what it is.
I embrace that.
Well, I know you mentioned that you had watched last week's podcast with Jermaine, and he had just kind of started off the podcast with just kind of like, this is what we know. So you want to do something kind of similar tonight?
We don't know that much about the TV side yet. A lot of it's still up in the air, but obviously the biggest news is that Game of Thrones and Westworld will not be there, which is, huge for the fact that last year was such a big splash, not only with the panels, but also the activations, which were two of the best of the history of the con, I think, with the Westworld experience and the Winter is Here kind of activation that they had. So that's a big hole, certainly in our coverage, as well as just everyone's, fandom of the con. I'm also a big fan of Outlander, so I'm very sad that Starz also seems like they'll be skipping this year and saving all of their juice for New York Comic Con. Same with American Gods. Those are kind of the biggies that I'm a big fan of. So it will be interesting to see what kind of rises up and fills in the gaps there.
Absolutely, but we do know a couple of TV shows.
We know Walking Dead. We know Castle Rock.
Yeah, Doctor Who.
So yeah, there are some big name ticket items there that I think people will care about. Obviously, The Walking Dead has been a mainstay for many years. Fear the Walking Dead will obviously be there as well. And this will probably be Andrew Lincoln's farewell and possibly the last we'll see of Lauren Cohan at one of these panels, although obviously they also do New York Comic Con. So who knows how many of the cast members we'll get. And obviously the Chris Hardwick allegations will probably still be hanging over the whole affair. So it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that. Maybe they won't talk about it at all. And that might be the safest way to go. And obviously that's the same with Doctor Who. Hardwick was supposed to moderate that panel as well for BBC America, which was kind of questionable even before the allegation surfaced, since you've got the first ever female doctor in Jodie Whittaker. So that might have been a good opportunity to give a female moderator a shot, but now they can do that. Hopefully they will remedy that and find an awesome female moderator to go with their awesome female doctor. That would be very nice. And I know that was one of the first TV shows to have a panel in Hall H. So I would imagine that they will be back in there being rock stars, especially with so few movie properties taking up Hall H space this year.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the new TV shows that we think might be there, especially like on the broadcast side, because that's always a big question. Let's just start going down the list. Like ABC, What do you think they would bring? Would they bring Whiskey Cavalier? Would they bring anything else?
Whiskey Cavalier is mid-season, so it could go either way. Obviously, Lauren Cohan, if she's going to be down there anyway for Walking Dead, it would make sense to have, a little preview, something, taste setting. That would make sense to me. I think NBC's biggest genre thing is a manifest, which would be a good bet too, because you have Josh Dallas, who obviously is big with the Once Upon a Time fans, so I'm sure they would be glad to see him. That seems like a safe bet too. I haven't watched many of the pilots yet. I'm very bad at my job. I'm trying to wait until after Comic-Con, so I actually don't know what would be like the good ones for them to bring. Like those two are the ones that make sense to me.
Fox has The Passage, which is that vampire medical show thing,
which I think is also mid-season. I could be wrong on that.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, so it feels like these kind of things they might want to make a splash at New York Comic Con a little closer to the air dates.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Warner Brothers of the world that tend to like to show a lot of pilots ahead of time. I would love to see Titans or Young Justice Outsiders get kind of that, Wednesday night preview slot from them, but I don't know if they want to tease their wares so early before the DC Universe streaming service actually debuts, whether that would be giving the game away too much for them. I'm not sure.
Well, let's talk about that, because I've been curious about this as well. Do you think that Warner Brothers and DC will push their new DC Universe streaming service at Comic-Con?
It would make sense to at least have a presence, even if they don't show that much. I think Young Justice Outsiders is probably a safer bet, because they obviously paneled it last Comic-Con. That was kind of the first preview we got, moderated by yours truly, not to toot my own horn. So I think that makes sense to at least give us a little more, since we kind of got character designs and a little update on that last season. Titans, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I think that an activation of some kind or a photo op would make sense for them, even if they don't panel it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, Warner Brothers and DC, they both always go all out with everything that they have.
Yeah. So we can definitely expect Flash, Arrow, Black Lightning, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, for sure. It will be interesting to see if Netflix brings Sabrina, since obviously Riverdale's coming. They're from the same creative team. You would expect Comic-Con to be the place to make a big splash for something like that that's very genre heavy, but Netflix hasn't always in the past gone super hardcore on Comic-Con, but obviously ramping up with Stranger Things, that kind of thing. I think it would be strange of them not to have Sabrina, and maybe Stranger Things, but that might not have wrapped filming. So
yeah, Netflix is also always a big question. We know now that they are bringing Iron Fist at least, and it sounds like they're still considering bringing a couple of the other Marvel Netflix series. I mean, I'm always hopeful that Netflix just goes all out like they did last year. Like, it was so nice just to have some fresh faces at Comic-Con.
Yeah, and it's a good energy. And because Marvel Studios isn't bringing anything on the movie side, I think this is kind of the year where Marvel TV could really step up and fill that void. Obviously, there's not quite as much of an audience fervor for the TV shows as for the movies. But I think because we know Iron Fist will be there, and John Bernthal sounds like he'll be there for Walking Dead, The Punisher would be a no-brainer for a panel. Daredevil has wrapped filming, so it would make sense to have something there, even if you can't get the entire cast, have kind of like a Netflix Marvel TV panel of some kind. I think because Luke Cage is dropping so soon, and because Jessica Jones, I think, will have just started production, or maybe not even on season 3, we probably can't expect a full Defenders like reunion type panel. But obviously Marvel also has, The Gifted with Fox, and Legion with FX, and probably Cloak and Dagger for Freeform, maybe Runaways for Hulu. So, they can completely dominate it. And I would imagine probably Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. might get kind of maybe an unofficial farewell panel, since they're kind of premiering at mid-season as well. So by the time next season wraps, it might be too far away from Comic-Con for them to justify getting the band back together next summer. I don't know.
I don't know either. And I'm really curious about that one as well, because they skipped Comic-Con last year. S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't there last year.
Yeah, New York Comic-Con, they had their panel, so it could go either way.
Yes, it
it's
could.
Like you'd want a little farewell. You would, just in case. As they've always been a bubble show, you kind of want to have that moment.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Other new shows. What do we think that's on CBS?
Oh gosh, what is on CBS?
I feel like every year we get like some funky CBS show that I'm like, why is this here? And I feel like this year it's gonna be, yes, I feel like this year it's gonna be Magnum PI. Like I just have a feeling.
Yeah, they might go with that nostalgia angle for sure. That's definitely a show that's a high priority for them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have, some nostalgic look at this new thing we've got. That would make sense. I think that it's a fairly safe bet that Star Trek Discovery will be back, even though that will also, I think, be a mid-season premiere. Because with that show, you really can talk about the kind of science and the legacy of the show without needing to get too into the weeds about spoilers. But I think that they kind of need to ramp up excitement for it after all of the news breaking with Alex Kurtzman taking over as showrunner. So they probably want to put their best foot forward there.
Which makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
All right. And then the CW, I'm sure they're going to bring all the usual Warner Brothers. Yeah, all of them.
I would imagine it will be a block again, probably, hopefully not a late night block, since I think we were all very exhausted by that in the past. And I don't know that that's as much fun for the cast when they want to be out at the EW party. I don't know that they want to be paneling. Yes, and Supernatural will, I'm sure, be back in Hall H on Sunday after their triumphant Kansas panel performance last year, treated like the rock stars they are. So
yes,
that's a safe bet.
I'm sure. And they've got a couple of new shows. They've got Roswell, which I feel like should definitely be there.
I think because that's another mid-season show.
You think so?
I doubt it. Yeah.
Okay.
Charmed, I would imagine, probably, because that's a full priority for them. But they tend to leave their promotional juice for the mid-season shows for maybe New York Comic-Con, but I wouldn't imagine that they would want to do anything here.
Let's see here. All right. Someone just asked about, it's not broadcast, obviously, but Mayans MC, because obviously they, Sons of Anarchy.
FX knows what they've got there. And FX is always very good about doing the huge social activations out front of the Bayfront. So I would imagine there'll be some cool tattoo station or barbecue cooker. I don't know, some cool marketing thing that's a lot more creative than anything I could come up with for that, and probably Legion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to cable.
Sci-fi will make a big splash, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Because I'm super pumped about Deadly Class, which is the kind of comic book based on an Image comic, executive produced by the Russo brothers. So that is a perfect fit for all things Comic-Con. So I can imagine that is for definite.
Yes.
Same with Night Flyers, which is obviously based on a George R.R. Martin book. So even if we're not getting Game of Thrones, maybe we could see George. Maybe he's hunkered down in a bunker somewhere writing Winds of Winter and isn't allowed out. I don't know. But I think that Sci-Fi knows to capitalize on the interest there. And then obviously Sci-Fi has Krypton and Happy and, their entire lineup basically. And it will be interesting to see if Amazon brings The Expanse, which would make total sense since they just made a big splash about saving it. I don't know that that's back in production yet, but you would think they'd want to show that off.
The thing that I'm really curious about with Amazon is they're doing a big offsite for the Jack Ryan show.
Yep.
So do you think that means we get a panel as well? Do we get John Krasinski at Comic-Con?
I think we should get John Krasinski at Comic-Con. I don't know. I feel like it's a big priority for Amazon, so I would hope that they would make a big splash there. It seems like the perfect venue to launch that show. And I think the premiere date isn't that far off from it. It's August, right? So where else are you going to get that kind of straight to the audience. And people love Krasinski. People have loved him since The Office. People love him with Quiet Place. Like, give the people what they want.
Absolutely. Better Call Saul. I'm actually super curious about this year. They're doing a season 4 premiere event, like a red carpet event at Comic-Con this year. We learned that last week. So I'm sure we're going to get a panel for that, which is really exciting because just like Breaking Bad, it didn't go for years and years.
Yep. I think AMC knows what they have with that show. It's and they've always been so good at kind of the social activations with Gus and their chicken giveaways at various other places. They did that at South by Southwest and won everyone's eternal love. So I hope that they have some cool activational giveaway as well tied to it.
I'm pretty jealous that you got to go to that offsite. It looked amazing.
Yeah, they know how to do it right.
Yes, they do. All right. Freeform. We've had a bunch of people asking about Shadowhunters, considering that they just announced that it's ending. What do you think the likelihood is?
I think that as much as it would be, a sign of respect to the fans, I don't know that they would spend money on something that is done for them. Like, it would be nice, and maybe the creators or the cast might try and organize something, kind of an offsite, like hire out a venue for a farewell for the fans, but I don't know that Freeform would throw money at it when they don't need to at this point. There's zero returns for them.
Completely agree, most unfortunately. All right. What about Mr. Robot? I don't think it didn't go last year. We got an offsite.
Yes,
but it wasn't
they've done a
at
lot
the
of
convention.
activations, but I don't know about panels. I don't know that that's worth it for them. And I think it really depends on like Rami and Christian's, like I know them, like we're on a first name basis, what their movie careers are doing, because obviously Rami, I mean, if there was for some reason a Bohemian Rhapsody presence, which I don't see at Comic-Con being likely, like they're probably going to be scattered to the wind.
But maybe we'll get another cool offsite.
Yes, I think that we can get some cool photo op out of them probably.
All right, let's see here. Do you see any other shows people are asking about real quick, James?
Not necessarily new ones, but what about Gotham? I mean, we can expect that to be the block of shows that they have.
Yes. Yeah, I don't see Warner Brothers skipping that, especially since it's kind of ramping up towards the final run. I think that's a safe bet.
And a lot of people too are asking about Lucifer, and I know that like several different sites have asked in the last like 48 hours if they're going to Comic-Con, and I know they've said they'd like to, but since they just got picked up.
Yes, I think that the window for like panel requests probably passed long before, so I don't think they'd have Ballroom 20 space by any means. But I think that the showrunners have said that they will be down there in some capacities, whether that's like popping in at the end of some other Warner Brothers panel or some kind of activation on a stage, maybe. I'm sure that they'll certainly want to get in where they can. I just don't know where that would be.
Into the Badlands from AMC.
Yeah, they went last year, right? I think
so. I know they've been in the past.
Yeah. That's always a weird show because it's, a very cult, passionate audience, but not like a huge, Ballroom 20 filler. So that would be interesting. I think that they respect the fans enough that if the cycling works out in terms of what's filming, why not bring them?
Right, let's see here. Do you think BBC would bring anything else other than Doctor Who? They've also got Killing Eve.
I would dearly love a Killing Eve panel. I adore that show. I don't know. It's been picked up, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility. But it might just be too early. Depends on where they are with writing more than anything else.
Which makes sense. Everybody's asking about Orville. I'm sure that'll go.
Orville will come back for sure.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I'm curious about Rick and Morty and Adult Swim because Adult Swim usually does have a presence.
They do.
And, they've picked Rick and 70 episodes. So even if it's just Justin Roiland talking to himself for an hour, doing a table read or something, you feel like you have to give the fans something to avoid causing a literal riot, perhaps. I don't know.
I'm sure they will. They brought like this thing called the Rickmobile last year. I have no idea if you know anything about this, but it was basically just like
the Rickmobile. I wish I had.
It was basically like this mobile truck that looks like Rick. Yeah. And it just like drove around and they sold merch out of it. That's coming back this year. So I'm sure they'll do some cool stuff again this year.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has to worry.
No, give them what they want.
That's right. I had one person ask me, Lifetime doesn't go a lot, and it's not like total Comic-Con fare. What do you think the odds of you are, though? Yeah.
I mean, Sarah Gamble will be there for the Magicians most likely, so I think it would be easy. I think it's just whether that's worth Lifetime's while, whether that's the audience that they're going for. It could be, because it is kind of counter to their usual demographic. It would be smart to do some kind of pop-up, or like the Handmaid's Tale doesn't usually go. They've gone to New York Comic-Con, I think, not even for a panel, just for kind of like social advertising. So I think just having something like in the bathrooms or on the mirrors in certain hotels or something, just to kind of sneak it into people's consciousness without needing to panel it, would maybe be the smart way to go if they're worried about filling a room. But stranger things have happened.
That's right. Stranger things have happened. All right. Epic Skyline asked, do you think we'll see Good Omens coming? That's what I'm most excited about this year.
Oh, it's possible. I didn't even think about that. It's been so off my radar. But yeah, that would make sense. I mean, Amazon is having a fairly big presence. Yeah, why not? I'm going to say yes. I have no knowledge either way, but it would make sense, right?
That's funny.
Yeah, let's get Tennant and Michael Sheen over there. I think that's fine.
Yeah, why not? All right. TS Fan 12 asked, besides The Walking Dead, which TV shows do you think will be in Hall H this year?
Good one.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who for
Supernatural.
For sure.
Supernatural. Lions MC, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's big enough to fill it in terms of, if Stranger Things comes, that would make sense. I think the Marvel Netflix shows, Iron Fist will probably be in there if they do, a Daredevil Punisher thing. Those would be smart bets. I think there could be an argument for something like Castle Rock. I think it could fill it.
Ballroom 20. We found that out.
Oh, you found it out? Ignore me then. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting because it just depends on where the movie studios have slotted themselves. Like, obviously Sunday has never really had a movie presence, so it's easy for things like Supernatural to slot in there. But depending on how they're staggering things throughout the day and whether smaller movie studios will have, taken up that time. And I think EW usually does their two panels in Hall H usually, or one in Hall H and one in Ballroom 20.
They do the Women Who Kick Ass in Hall H, and then they do the men one over in Ballroom 20.
Yeah. So like there might be other things kind of sliding in there, or like a Kevin Smith panel or Joss Whedon, that kind of thing. I guess I'm interested to see how the programmers have slotted things this year, with the knowledge that there aren't so many movie big items out there.
Well, and actually, what we've heard is that it sounds like several movie studios are coming. It's just not the usual suspects.
Disney and Marvels of the world, yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like Sony, Universal, Paramount,
yeah,
all of which haven't been in a while.
Yeah, they'll be like there for Saturday and probably most of Friday. So it's like, is there real estate for anything other than The Walking Dead, and Fear the Walking Dead to slot in there?
All right, let's see here. What other questions? Let's talk a little bit about this. Who's Nick asked, any thoughts as to why HBO is skipping this year?
The party line was that the filming schedules just didn't work out, which I buy. I think Game of Thrones will either be about to wrap or have wrapped by mid-July. And that cast is, already so in demand, already in a million different movies. So I think the logistics of getting them all back together to promote something that isn't going to premiere until next year, like, what's the point? Like, that is a show that does not need the publicity. It is very nice when they sit and talk to us randomly about anecdotes from filming. But it's never been a very news-heavy panel anyway, so I don't think that HBO is sweating not being able to pimp it out to us, because there will be plenty of opportunities for us all to obsess over it in the many months to come before. We don't know the premiere date, so maybe it will be, after next year's Comic-Con, maybe it'll be before, but I think they'll definitely be back next year for Game of Thrones and probably for Westworld, depending on the premiere cycle, with something, because, they can do whatever they want at this point. It's HBO's world and we're living in it.
Basically. And I think their announcement even pretty much said, like, we'll be back next year. We just won't be here.
They have a great relationship with Comic-Con.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. Like, they did a really immaculate job last year with their activation. So,
oh my God, that Westworld offsite. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm sad that they're not doing something similar to what they did at South by Southwest, where they kind of built out Sweetwater and really made it an immersive thing, because the Comic-Con version was definitely cool. But
again,
my version,
so jealous.
I didn't even get to go. I sent one of my coworkers because I was in screenings all the time. So I have as much FOMO as everyone else that I didn't get to experience Sweetwater in all of its glory, because it sounded incredible.
That's funny. All right. Future Man on Hulu.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think so.
Well, it was the only thing they brought last year, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I mean, they're still filming as far as I know, but they'll probably be getting pretty close to the end there, so they'd probably have something to show, if not the first episode of season 2, then at least a fun sizzle. So that would make sense.
Makes sense. All right. And then we're getting a whole lot of questions about Twin Peaks. And you can talk about what you know, and then I'll talk about what I know.
You talk about what you know first. I know nothing.
Okay. So yesterday, for anybody who doesn't know, a whole bunch of the cast members, 16 to be exact, announced that they would be doing autograph signings at Comic-Con. And typically when there's that much cast, there's a panel coming. Mm-hmm. So what I learned today is there is a panel coming. Ooh. Showtime is not the ones putting it on.
That makes sense.
So I'm not entirely certain which entity is putting it on. I'm not sure if Entertainment Weekly is bringing them, TV
David
Guide
Lynch himself, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe David Lynch himself is bringing them.
If anyone has the juice, say David Lynch is let's do it. We'll talk about trees and logs and the existential nature of humanity and stuff for 45 minutes, and it'll be incomprehensible but glorious. And
that may be exactly what's happening.
I'm here for it, whatever it is.
But so there will be a panel. I've heard it's going to be, I forget which night, but it's going to actually be at night in the Indigo Ballroom, which is really interesting because they don't normally do night programming over there. So I don't know. That's what I know.
Good scoop. Thank you for that.
All right, let's see here. You see any other questions, James?
Lots of people want Man in the High Castle to show up.
I think Man in the High Castle will show up. I think that's probably a safe bet.
Oh, nice.
I feel like Amazon's going to go big.
Yeah, they seem.
They've been slowly ramping up. They have a lot more interesting Comic-Con friendly programming. Obviously, they need to lay the groundwork for when they're going to conquer it with Lord of the Rings in the coming years. So
that's right.
And flag in the ground now.
Yes, and if you've gotten your Comic-Con badge yet, they've basically sponsored the little box that it comes in. So Amazon's spending some money this year. All right.
That is a real question from James Binder. What show will the Tin Fish promote that will be canceled after one season?
I won't even comment.
I mean, it had I'm not going to comment on the latter half of that question, but it's got to be Manifest. NBC doesn't really have much else to go over there, right?
Unless they renew Timeless.
They could renew Timeless. People certainly want that to happen. I would love to see some kind of Brooklyn Nine-Nine presence just in homage to the fans. I love that show. It's not really a Comic-Con-ish show, but there are so many non-Comic-Con shows that have gone in previous years, and I think the fans would probably go nuts for it.
I want so badly for them to bring The Good Place back. Yeah. It went the first year. Bring it back.
I mean, Community used to go, and that wasn't really a technically Comic-Con type show. There's a precedent here. I think
But
that
it was huge. Like, wasn't Community even in like
Exactly.
all H one year?
it might
I think it was.
Yeah.
Come on, kids.
Yeah. Watch The Good Place if you haven't. My goodness.
Please.
I'm adding my request for 9/9 as well.
Yeah, I think that would be real nice. That cast is amazing. So they deserve a little Hall H. A little Hall. They're not going to be in Hall H. They deserve a little Comic-Con love in general.
We could put them in Hall H too. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, whatever. Just put them in like a janitor's closet or something. I would still go watch them.
Same. Absolutely same. All right, let's see here. I think that about does it for our questions. Yeah, I think that about does it. All right, James, did you have anything to add?
Actually, I did have a question about timeline. Why are they delaying so much on that? I mean, it's not really Comic-Con related, but I mean, is there some kind of something?
It might be kind of behind the scenes talks that they're having to maybe finesse the budget, like what, Kripke's ideas are for season 3 to make it a kind of more compelling case for a renewal. My gut says that if they haven't announced yet, that it's probably bad news, and they're just maybe waiting until like 4th of July when it's a slow news day to sneak that out and not upset people. I don't know. Yeah, I have no insight into their discussions or whether it's leaning one way or the other, but I feel like if it was a definitive yes, it might have already happened by now, but maybe it's just like ongoing negotiations and they're trying to get the price down or make it more of an appealing package. Fingers crossed.
So in all this discussion, we were talking about some of the studios that are dropping out like HBO. And usually the question after that is Comic-Con losing its appeal to the studios? But then we also have like Amazon ramping up. So, I mean, is it really honestly, most of the time it's just scheduling, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like cost, like, is it worth it to bring however many shows down, get the cast and their various entourages into hotels and feed them and transport them? And, I think that that's certainly a part of it, maybe not a huge part of it for something like Netflix that can just, print money at this point. But I think it is. I think someone like with the HBOs and Game of Thrones of the world, like it is just a matter of, can we get this cast together? Is there any point, or will people be just as excited about it next year? Which I think usually the answer is yes. Sometimes networks don't have as many kind of sci-fi fantasy genre shows that would make sense to be down there. And I think that's certainly the case with broadcast these days. You are seeing a much bigger skew towards the streaming and cable side rather than the broadcast networks trying to plant a flag there like they used to.
Makes sense.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, I mean, it's peak TV, the golden age. We have so much TV, it's coming out of our ears. I literally don't have time to watch all the TV I need to watch. So I don't think it's a concern for anyone that we'll be short of things to see and do at Comic-Con anytime soon.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Laura, before we let you go, why don't you tell our viewers where they can find you online?
Sure. I am on Twitter at LawInLA, which is LAUINLA, which is also my Instagram handle. And you can find me on IGN, where I write all sorts of nonsense about Game of Thrones and Westworld and many other things. So come check me out there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. You have a good night.
You too. Bye, guys.
All right. Well, that was fun. We learned some stuff. So, sounds like it's going to be a good year for TV.
Like it seems to be every year now.
Yes, I know. Everyone panics like when they announce like certain people aren't attending. But the thing you have to remember is it's like this every single year because it's so much easier to announce, yeah, we're not going to go this year. We can announce that like 5 weeks ahead than it is to be like, yeah, we're going. And here's like all of our panelists that we've now nailed down. Like that comes a little bit later. That comes probably in about 2 days from now.
Well, speaking of news coming out.
Oh my God.
Well, we had a massive amount of exclusives, so we'll get to those in a minute. But let's go over some of the newsy news that was released, including today's big bombshell of Harbor Drive closing to traffic.
And not just that.
And you must have a Comic-Con badge to even get close to the convention center to be able to go onto the sidewalks around the convention center. So they are locking down the convention center to attendees only.
Which is, I mean, it's great. So I do know a little bit of information about this that I don't think we included in the post. The perimeters basically that they're setting up, there's not going to be RFID there. The RFID is still going to be at the doors, but the perimeters will have like security guards who are basically just eyeballing you to make sure you have a badge. I mean, this is going to be good. Like, imagine how much more space we're going to have, like, up on the sidewalk because they're moving the shuttle buses down a little bit, too. Like, it's going to be great, I think.
Basically, Harbor becomes the shuttle stops.
Yes.
And that driveway through right in front of the convention center now becomes an open area, which hopefully they use for pedestrian traffic so that, especially, like, between C and D, you have that elevator they never use that next to the stairs that basically makes it to where only like 3 people wide can get through that area. And so hopefully the back and forth traffic to and from Hall A to H will now get a little freer and quicker.
Absolutely. And one thing I did to address, because I think the most common question we've had today actually is, so does that mean that it will stop non-badged attendees from going behind the convention center? No, it will not. They just basically now have to go the long way round. So if someone without a badge wants to go check out some of the activations that are around behind the convention center, you basically, if you're in the gas lamp, you have to go over on the like Petco side, cross that pedestrian bridge that takes you over to the bayfront, go downstairs to the ground, walk along the bayfront sidewalk, and then from there you can cross, like after you've passed the Hall H line area. So you can still get over there. It's just going to be like a little bit of a longer journey.
And if you're coming from the other side, the badge member area only extends to the area next to the Marriott, between the Marriott and the convention center. So if you go through the Marriott, out the back of the Marriott, and then down the waterfront, you'll be able to get to the offsites behind it that way as well.
Correct. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, this is a huge change. This is the first like really big security change that we've been able to witness. Like, I'm sure they've had a ton of security changes behind the scenes that we just don't see, but this is a really big change. And again, I think it's a positive thing.
Yes, I think so too.
So we'll see how it all plays out, but I'm excited. So
just a reminder, because of this, if you tend to go wandering around at night and you travel back and forth from like your hotel to an offsite or something, make sure you bring your badge because they're not going to let you walk along the convention center sidewalk at night. Actually, up until 9 p.m. And then after 9 p.m., it's basically open for anyone. So there are hours where this is enforced. It's from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. during the later days. So remember that if you're walking through before 9 p.m. to bring your badge and make sure you keep it with you.
So Epic Skyline just asked, do you know if you have to have a badge for that day to get through? And that is the question of the hour. What I was told today is basically they think the official answer is yes, but they also think that so long as you have a Comic-Con badge, you shouldn't have too many issues. So the real answer is your mileage may vary. But where that's going to get really interesting is, let's say you have a Friday badge only, and you want to go line up on Thursday. Are you going to be able to now? We don't know. We're just going to have to see what happens.
Also another reminder to bring any paperwork you may have for your badge or parking or anything, and keep that with you at all times. Because if you need to walk through to get a badge or volunteer status, bring your volunteer email. Anything that you may have that you need to prove why you need to be there, bring it with you so that you can show it to anyone as you go through. Otherwise, they will not let you through.
Yeah. And like he said, that also includes if you're parking in the convention center, you have to like show them, hey, the reason I'm driving in this lane is because I'm trying to park here. So make sure you do have your paperwork. All right. Well, that was probably the biggest news of today. But I mean, we had so much news this week, including, guess what, guys? Badges shipped, or some of them have. Maybe not yours, but some of them have. Yeah, so the badges have shipped. The design, again, this year is The Walking Dead. Just like last year, you get a pen with it. There's 2 different pen designs. One is a little toucan spaceman guy. One is the logo. You get one at random. If you don't like the one you got or you want the other one, you can go buy it on site at the convention center. The box talks about experience Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan at Comic-Con. There's going to be an offsite. That's all I know, but I know there's going to be one. Yeah. Yay, badges.
So a reminder that they go out in badges and batches. So some people got them today, some will get them tomorrow, some will get them next week.
And this year, the emails don't seem to mean anything. A whole bunch of people got their badges, I think, starting over the weekend.
Yeah,
maybe
yesterday or the day before, and the emails didn't show up. And then today, people were getting emails as the badges showed up.
Yes. So, like, people would get an email and be like, your badge is shipped. And then 5 minutes later, they'd walk out to the mailbox and be like, oh, it's here. So, yeah, really fast shipping service. Really fast. All right. Let's see
some
here.
of the other big news was, of course, HBO skipping. But we talked about that with Laura, so we're going to gloss over that one.
Yes. But like I said, and basically it's just what Jermaine said on our podcast last week. It sounds like a bunch of the really big studios that haven't been in a while are going to come back, which is so awesome. He did a really cool article today on IO9. He did a little bit more research after our podcast last week, and he's just kind of recapping like what he's hearing that the studios are going to do. Like we talked about last week, Sony, it sounds like it's going to do Venom and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Paramount is very likely to return, and it sounds like they're going to focus on Bumblebee. Universal sounds like they're very likely to return as well. Sounds like they're going to focus on Halloween. Fox 20th Century, they'll return. They're going to focus on Predator. So yeah, a whole bunch of movies are coming back. So just because you haven't heard about it yet, don't think that nothing is coming to Comic-Con.
Yeah. And one thing we do know is coming back is Aquaman, because they announced that we will be getting a trailer debut at Comic-Con. So the Warner Brothers panel on typically Saturday morning, which we expect it to be Saturday morning again in Hall H, will feature the Aquaman trailer debut.
Yes. And then the trolleys have been getting all kinds of wraps. They originally announced 40-plus cars. I saw a tweet today from somebody who works at the Metro Transit System who said 70. And at this point, I believe it. I feel like every car is getting wrapped for Comic-Con, which is cool, though. Sci-Fi has, again, just a ton of wraps. We got a new Final Space one the other day. We got a new Conan wrap that has, if you looked closely, something very interesting. First of all, it does talk about Spreckles, which is where his shows will be, but it also mentions a Team Cocoa house on 4th Avenue. That's not Spreckles. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like an offsite, and I have every possible finger that I can have crossed for bingo. Come back, bingo. It's like my number one regret of all time at Comic-Con is basically not going to Conan O'Brien bingo.
And now that we've been talking it up for what, 2 years, 3 years now, how many people are going to want to go to that now? Since
all of them,
I know everyone's like, that was so awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So what I really should be saying is, no, I don't want it to be bingo. It was awful. No one should want to go. Okay, moving on.
Why would you want to stay in a house with Conan? I mean,
right?
Whatever.
All
but
right.
also the trolley passes, the commemorative passes for mobile ticketing. If you want to ride the trolley in, they have commemorative passes during Comic-Con, and you can pick those up. Are they available now or not till the 19th?
You can go pick them up in person now. You can't do the mobile until a little bit later. You can go pick them up in person right now. And if you buy the 5-day pass, those you can actually start using on July 18th.
There you go. We discussed with Laura about Twin Peaks showing up. And the image that was shared showed that they were going to have signings from Friday through Sunday. And I think
I was
going to be on Saturday.
Friday. I was told today that they will have a signing on the floor on Friday, but the image said signings Friday through Sunday in the autograph area, which is not the floor. So I'm just like, I don't know what's happening.
They just literally are taking over Comic-Con, and they're going to be wherever they feel like it for 3 days.
The point is, there will be a Twin Peaks signing, maybe more than one, and a Twin Peaks panel. And that's literally all the details I have for you.
All you need. Conan, speaking of Conan also, they started teasing the Funko Pops that will be given out each night during Conan's tapings. And their third one was revealed today, and we have figured out that they are going to be a Resistance pilot Conan. And today's was Hellboy Conan, probably.
We think, I'm less convinced than everyone else, but...
What was the other one? I can't remember.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, that's right. The first one was Ant-Man. And they keep sharing the image, and people with Photoshop and other skills are figuring out which one it is, and they keep making it harder.
Someone tweeted us an image earlier, and it was like literally like it was basically like a black image, and they were like, "This is going to be tomorrow's reveal," and I feel that they're not wrong because
the only thing that's going to show is the hair.
I think so too. What could this be? I don't know. All right. Castle Rock, like we said, is coming back. It's going to not coming back. It's heading to the convention for the first time. And in fact, attendees will be able to see the premiere at Comic-Con. It will be screened in Ballroom 20, and you're going to get a panel that it sounds like does not include J.J. Abrams or Stephen King, but it's going to have some cast members like Sissy Spacek, Bill Skarsgård, and then there's also going to be an immersive experience for Castle Rock in an area near the Hard Rock Hotel. And I'm very curious to see where exactly that winds up being, but it sounds cool. So, and again, I'm all for other studios doing different things.
Yes.
Yes.
And, so there, as we were talking, Laura, a lot of things we actually know are coming, but the list of shows that have announced for sure that will be there is Doctor Who, Iron Fist, The Walking Dead, Gifted, The Flash,
Blue Book,
and Krypton, and the Goldbergs all have announced that they're going to have panels at Comic-Con this year.
Yep. So, yes, and you can find our list of panels that we know of on our site. I try to tweet link to it once a day. Right now, we have 47 panels on there and counting. So,
and so now we need to talk about something that happened this week that is not fun, and that was the post that Chloe Dykstra posted about emotional and sexual abuse from an ex-boyfriend. Did not name anyone, but everyone figured out that it was Chris Hardwick based on the clues, and then Chris Hardwick revealed by answering it with his own press release his statement. And as a fallout from that, now a lot of people are saying, you know, this is like basically gossipy kind of stuff, and we shouldn't be covering it as a Comic-Con site. But this directly affects Comic-Con because Chris Hardwick is basically known as Mr. Comic-Con because of his hosting duties and moderating duties at Comic-Con, hosting Walking Dead, Doctor Who. I mean, the Warner Brothers, I mean, he does so much moderating at Comic-Con that anything that would affect that is news in the Comic-Con world. And
and not only that, but like he'd already been announced to moderate the Doctor Who panel, like literally the day before. He'd been announced to have a Funko Pop exclusive for Comic-Con this year. Like it was all very related to Comic-Con. So,
right. And so as it affects Comic-Con is he has, according to the press release from AMC, The Talking Dead is not going to air starting this week like it was supposed to. and he has stepped down as moderator for all of the AMC panels and the BBC America Doctor Who panel. Whether or not he's still going to moderate WB and all of those that he usually would, since they weren't announced, they just, if they don't want him to do it, they basically just don't announce that he was going to do it, and they pick someone else at this point.
I suspect, first of all, the fact that AMC said that he was stepping down, to me basically says like he will not be at Comic-Con this year. He will not be moderating anything. And it makes sense. Like, look, regardless of your feelings on the news, like companies have to take these kind of allegations very seriously as they continue to investigate. So I just don't think we'll be seeing any of Chris Hardwick this year.
Right. And there's other things that have come out, and there's going to be people talking about it. And at this point, we're probably not going to report on it unless it is something that directly affects Comic-Con, whether he's appearing for a panel or moderating or anything like that, or someone announces that he is being removed from something again. It's not our job to like give every single bit of like rumor, gossip, or detail about the actual case. It's just how does it affect Comic-Con, and that's what we're going to be covering.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can see some people in the chat today talking about some new news on DMC. We will not be reporting on that, but if Funko announced like we will not be making his Comic-Con Funko Pop, that we would report. So
there you go.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
All right.
Back to
in happier news.
Adam Savage wants you to be a part of a Comic-Con Totoro walk. So he was Totoro last year. He built a Totoro, and he was out there walking around. And so if you have a costume, basically, it's basically the Totoro walk instead of a zombie walk at Comic-Con.
But it's on the floor. See, I have like very mixed feelings about this. Like, I'm like, it has the potential to be so cool, but do you really want to have like all these people in these massive costumes, like trying to do a little march on the floor where there's no room?
Yeah. No, I don't. So take it outside, people.
Right? Like, I think it's a cool concept, but I'm like, don't do it on the floor. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes down. All right. Let's move on to offsites. We had quite a few of those this week as well. Our friends at Turning Tide, we announced this already, but they are doing a really cool musical mashup of Wicked and Harry Potter. And truthfully, my favorite thing about this is that they're doing nightly shows from Thursday through Sunday. So that means there is an actual Sunday night offsite you can go to. But we are giving away 2 tickets to it. So you can go enter that on our site now.
Through the 25th.
Yes, through the 25th.
Super Troopers 2 will be heading to Comic-Con with, well, mustache rides. So this is going to be at the new Petco experience, the Comic-Con experience at Petco, correct?
We don't know. We don't know where this is going to be. It might be over at Double Deuce, which is like a Mechanical Bull bar. It might be there. It might be in the Petco experience. I have no idea where it's going to be.
It would make sense if it's a mustache ride, that it's basically going to be a bull ride and they're just going to put a giant mustache on it.
Yeah.
So that would make sense.
Yeah. So we'll have to see where that winds up. But either way, like, I think it's cool that this is coming, especially considering the movie already came out. So like, good on them for being like, yeah, let's go to Comic-Con. Let's promote the Blu-ray. Like, why not?
A bunch of nerds just wanted to go to Comic-Con with just wanted to go to Comic-Con and have a reason to go, basically.
I don't see the problem at all. In other news that I am truly surprised is going to Comic-Con, but in the best way possible, Better Call Saul is going to have a red carpet premiere event at Comic-Con this year. And I told someone this story on Twitter, but every year we write like a big long post of like, here's all the TV shows that might or might not be at Comic-Con. And every year, until this year, I have been like, this might finally be the year Better Call Saul comes. This might finally be the year. And then this year I was like, it's not coming. I give up. And now it's coming. So I just needed to stop wishing. Yes, but they are doing a premiere event on Thursday, July 19th, and you can attend. They are picking 37 winners, and each winner will receive a +1. And basically all you have to do is go onto their Twitter, use their hashtag, tag 2 friends. You can also do the same thing on Instagram, and then you get to attend. So I'm excited.
Okay. That's all the regular news and offsites news now, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other offsites, like that Ready Party one. All the early bird pricing sold out on that. You can go get your regular tickets still. Rave of Thrones, or not Rave of Thrones. It was Rave of Thrones, but now it's just the guy who played Hodor doing DJing without calling it Rave of Thrones at the Omnia.
For that Ready Party one, didn't they announce a band was going to be playing?
They did. It's going to be Farscape's Gigi Edgley. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but her band is going to be playing. We put up 501st Legion tickets today. Those might already be gone. Basically, you can find any and all offsite news over on our offsite calendar.
There you go. Check it out.
Yes.
And of course, over the next, there's 29 days till Comic-Con. So over the next couple of weeks, you're going to find a lot of stuff getting announced now that all of the This Isn't Coming stuff is mostly out of the way, hopefully. All of the good news will be coming up for the next 4 weeks.
That's right.
All right, so on to exclusives. And there was about 1 billion of them today. And the first one is from Mattel. They announced their very first exclusive, actually 2 of them. And it is going to be the Hot Wheels DC Superman Action Comics #1. So this one's pretty cool, actually. It's based on, obviously, the first Action Comics featuring Superman, and it looks really cool. It's going to be $20. And the other one is the Aquaman 3-pack. Let me see. This one is, what is this one called? Aquaman and the Two Dooms. Between Two Dooms. Based on the 19 comic cover. So this is, I like the way that they're doing this, where they're basing it on the comic covers. I think this is pretty cool. $60 for this set. And you can order them starting on, what was the date?
June 26th, which is next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Mattel's site. I have no idea if their pre-sale will be booth pickup, shipping, both. Based on last year, they may not know. So, TBD. All right. We kind of got a Hasbro announcement today. Yeah, so the Hollywood Reporter tweeted out that there will be a 6-inch Marvel Legends set based on Netflix's The Defenders, and we got a photo, but I don't think they meant to tweet it out. There was no article. Like, if you clicked the link, it didn't take you anywhere. And when I asked the PR people, they were like, well, there was a miscommunication, but if the tweet's still up, go for it. So that's what we did. So hopefully we'll have some more information on that soon. Funko.
So Funko was announced, like a bunch of them today, right?
Oh my God. 3 announcements today, 1 yesterday.
Oh, did we talk about the Star Wars ones yet from Hasbro? I think
Didn't we?
I don't think we did.
Okay.
Han Solo with Minok and the Rey and Kylo set. Those will both be coming out from Hasbro as well.
Yes. Yes, and the Rey and Kylo Ren is basically $110, and the Solo one is $35.
And that Rey and Kylo one is pretty cool because it's a light up diorama, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Okay, so Funko. Funko did a lot.
So much.
They first started with the anime stuff. And that includes, I'm probably going to mess up some of these names, but the Bloody Tarna, the Gold, was it Vegeta?
I don't know.
Super Saiyan Broly, Ed Yamcha, and Black Lady. And then in the video, they revealed the Whis from Dragon Ball Z, which they will reveal probably later that it's maybe a Funimation booth exclusive. But they didn't really announce very much about it.
Funimation tweeted some very interesting things about it, so I very much feel so it will be at the Funimation booth. They have a Comic-Con exclusive every year, so that makes sense to me. And then today...
Star Wars?
Yeah.
an Imperial Stormtrooper from Solo.
Yep, and then we got another round of exclusives from them today, this time for DC, and it includes like Killer Moth from Teen Titans Go, Red Hood, which I know a ton of people have been asking for, and then also some Justice League, the Flash ones. Like there's a Running Flash, and then there's a 3-pack of different colors. And then finally, we got
the next
James
Director Series, the James Wan Pop Director Series, which will be limited to 1,000 pieces, and that will be showing up as well.
And it's worth noting too that sometimes when they do those really limited ones of people at Comic-Con, that sometimes they do a signing at the Funko booth. So I do think that that is a possibility this year, since we know Aquaman is going. But I know nothing.
And Factory revealed a couple more exclusives. They have the, this is really cool, the Goonies Copper Bones bottle opener. That's pretty awesome. That will retail for $15, and as usual, you can order it to be shipped or order to pick it up at the booth. And then they also revealed the Game of Thrones Icy Viserion Dragon, 9-inch plush, which will be $30.
And when you squeeze him, his eyes turn blue. Like they actually light up. I think that's really cool. All right, we have some other exclusives. Hallmark. I have been waiting forever for like a real announcement from Hallmark. We had these like terrible quality photos before, but now we have good photos and way more exclusives. So that's good. All right, so they're going to have a ton of exclusives this year. They're doing their normal ornaments. So we've got like a Star Wars Lando and Lobo ornament. We have a BB-8 basically calendar. It's pretty cool. We've got a Ready Player One Iron Giant ornament. We have a Star Trek The Animated Series ornament set. We have some Marvel Avengers PXL8, which is their like 8-bit looking things set. We have, they just have so much stuff. They've got 2 itty bitties this year. They've got a Boba Fett and a Star Trek Gorn. And then they also have all kinds of like pens and other things. You can find all that on our site, but it should be good.
And Gentle Giant continued releasing their exclusives, and this week, yesterday, they announced the Yoda Concept Series Mini Bust, which will be limited to 750 and retail for $100. And it looks like something from, definitely something from the Henson Creature Shop.
Spaceballs is mostly the reference we've had tweeted at us. All right, our friends at Symbiote Studios, they announced their exclusives for this year, and they're Rick and Morty, which is pretty cool. They will have 2 different plushes that are $30 each. They have a, what is this? A Super Rick Fan Morty and a 2-Cat Morty, and you can actually pre-order both of those starting on, I believe, July 1st. Yes, July 1st, but they won't ship until after the convention if you pre-order.
And Patrick Balstros, our favorite artist in the Artist Alley, released his next print, and that is the Better Late Than Never Alice in Wonderland print for his 25-cent Wonders series. And it's pretty awesome. You can see little signs on there for Comic-Con and Hall H and stuff like that. It's pretty awesome.
It is awesome. I just adore it. Like when he sent it to us, I was having so much fun like trying to figure out what the heck the signs were. Like one is his booth number over an Artist Alley. I just love it. So we also started the exclusives from Icon Heroes, and they always do some fun stuff for the WB TV shows. This year, they've got so far 2 different statues based on the DC crossover event, Crisis on Earth X. We have a Earth X Dark Flash, and we also have a Earth X Dark Arrow. And Arrow is $80, and so is the other one, actually. So.
And Monogram continues to release their exclusives, and this week we got the Incredibles 2 3D foam keyring 3-piece set featuring different versions of Jack Jack, and the Thor Ragnarok pewter keyring 2-piece set with a special black suede-lined collector's display box. Both of them will be limited to 300 pieces, and the Jack Jacks are 25, and the Thor set is 20. And then we also have the Gremlins 3D foam keyring 3-piece set, also 300 pieces and $25.
Yep. Yeah. And all of Monogram stuff is so cute. And I think I mentioned this last week, but I'm really excited about is this year for the first time they're actually going to be doing pre-sales. Starting in July, I think once they've announced all of their exclusives, they're going to put them all up on their sites. You're actually going to be able to pre-order them this year. So that's cool. And then we have so many other exclusives on our site, like so many. Today alone, we announced some variant Amazing Spider-Man #1 covers from Alex Ross. I announced a Pickle Rick pen from Oni Press. Fat Rabbit Farm is doing these really cool Marvel baby is their rabbit plush creature thing. They're doing some plush of those. Those are really cool. Entertainment Earth has all kinds of stuff, including like a Lin-Manuel Miranda wooden pen set, like, and a Bob Ross bobblehead today. Like, Entertainment Earth always does such interesting stuff. Jada Toys are going to be back this year with an awesome looking Batman the Classic TV series Batmobile. It looks awesome. I mean, there's just so much stuff on our site. Be Cute, they're doing these adorable shirts this year, and they also have a plush that is, what did they call it?
Happy Paper Plushie.
Yes, Happy Paper Plushie is basically like the happiest plush toilet paper roll you've ever seen, apparently. Mezco started doing their exclusives this year. We have a Batman Beyond. It's 17 inches tall. Bluefin started announcing their stuff. We have this really awesome Voltron
With
that I think, yeah.
That's what makes
then
regular release.
Absolutely. Kotobukiya, they're back this year. Today they announced 2 different exclusives, both Supergirl. One was like a dark Supergirl statue. It looks pretty cool. And then they also have a little rubber charm lanyard. It's super cute. Those are going to go up for pre-sale on Friday at 10 a.m. And like that barely even scratches the surface. Like there's just so much. And it only gets busier from here, quite honestly.
Yep.
So basically, yes, go check our site.
Lots of stuff on the site.
So
So we had questions while we were going through the show, and so we're going to get to some of those. No Lollygag asked, does anyone know if badges purchased during open reg and returning reg will ship in separate batches if they're for the same person?
They'll combine.
They should. Correct. Yes, they combine them. So if you didn't get them and someone said they bought you some badges during open reg and you never got an email, that means they never bought the badges probably.
So hopefully,
right?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically. So hopefully you're not in that. A bunch of questions about Conan tickets. I have no idea. I asked last week and was told they didn't know. Is my personal theory. So they've been announcing on the Conan Con Instagram, they've been announcing these teases for the Funkos. We have 3 out of 4. I just have a feeling that tomorrow we're going to get the 4th one, and then Thursday we're going to get tickets. I know literally nothing, but that is my out of thin air guess. So we will see. Let's see here. We had some other questions. Do you need a Thursday badge to go to the Better Call Saul premiere? I don't believe so. It didn't say anything about needing a badge. So I don't think you need a badge for that. Project Alpha or Screen Junkies After Party. I have not heard anything, but that we're early. People say this every year and they're like, where are the offsites? The offsites don't get announced, like that kind of stuff, until like a week or 2 before the convention. Truly. It just feels like so much longer. We do know Geek and Sundry made it sound like they'd be doing something again this year. I just don't know what. see here.
Solicitor Smeg asked, how will international badges work if you can't get on harbor without a badge? That's why you bring your paperwork.
Yes.
Bring your
So long as you show that paperwork, they'll let you through to Hall A to go up to sales to collect your badge, but you have to have that paperwork. So any word on the Nerd Night party? I'm pretty sure Nerd Night said that they were coming back. We just don't know when tickets are going up. But again, I feel like that doesn't happen until a little bit closer. Yeah. I mean, I know we only have 29 days, but like so much stuff happens in the next 29 days. So much stuff happened today.
I mean, just look at all those exclusives. I mean, half of those were like today.
Yeah. I am fully aware because I had to write them. All right. Cars1223 just asked, is the Hallmark booth hard to get into? Do I need to go to get a sales like Hasbro or just hit the floor? Okay, so the Hallmark booth is hard to get to. They do very much sell out of their exclusives early in the day. It's never been a ticket draw up in the sales. And truthfully, this year, who even knows it's going to work or any of the other booths are going to work. But it would just be one that you would head straight to the booth when the doors open. If you're going not for their exclusives and just for their like regular merch, you can do that any time of the day. No line. So.
What? Those don't exist at Comic-Con.
Yeah, they do.
No line areas? I thought you were.
Yeah, they do. All right. Did we have any other questions? I'm skimming through here. One more Twin Peaks question. So the autographs will be free in sales or will they charge? We do not know. Could go either way.
Typically,
Could go.
If it's a guest of Comic-Con, then the autograph is going to be free, typically, the first autograph at least. But if they are not a guest and they are just in the autograph area, then they can charge.
And at this point, I'm not even sure that they will be in the autograph area of sales because, like I said, although that image said they'd be in the autograph area, I was told today that they'd be doing a signing on Friday on the floor. So I'm like, I don't even know where they're signing. They don't know. So, all right. I think that about does it for our questions. So just as a reminder, every week we do an Attendee of the Week segment, which is where we get to basically feature one of you guys. And you can absolutely, for that, we love reading your entries. We announce our new Attendee of the Week every Friday.
If you or someone you know still needs badges to Comic-Con this year, all hope is not lost. Be sure to check out the contest hub on our site for contests for badges, parties, and more.
For a quick parking update, parking went on sale at the beginning of the month and is still on sale. Most of the lots except the convention center and the Bayfront are actually still available if you need parking. And truthfully, after today's announcement, it might be easier to get to go park somewhere that's not one of those places.
Yes, and so there is so much news that we are cranking out the Under the Tents column basically daily. That's all the little bits of news that we can fit and find across the internet, all in one place for you to enjoy.
Absolutely. Real quick, Fire Fairy 1212 asked, any guesses on when the tickets for the fandom party will go on sale? I do not have any guesses. I think I looked earlier, and I think last year it was like June 26th. So I think we're just a little bit early. I do know that the fandom party is happening again. I do know that they will have some kind of presence over in the experience at Comic-Con, which used to be Petco Interactive Zone, but that it will be different from last year. I don't know more than that. We will be back this year with our party, Too Blog, Too Furious, Gaslit Drift. I think the time might be changing slightly. It was 6 to 10 before. I think it might be 6 to 9 now. I'll know more next week. But it will be at McFadden's Pub. It's very casual. Just stop by, say hi to us. We're moderately cool people. We like talking to you.
For yourself. No, I'm just kidding. We may have a few small things to hand out if you show up, like buttons or something like that. We'll see. We'll see what we can scrounge around and get in the sofa cushion.
And our buttons this year are awesome. I only showed off one on Twitter yesterday, but they're all amazing. Like, I'm in love with all of them. So just to tease you a little, Prize Mule will be back this year. And I think I have pretty much everyone from last year nailed down, including a few new companies. And screw it, I'm just going to say the one that I'm really excited about this year. Hallmark will be giving us one of all of their exclusives to give away to you guys. So that's exciting. I'm excited.
Very cool.
I'm set. But yes, Prize Mule will be back. We will be announcing the first round of prize sponsors sometime next week. And we have shirts as well, and we'll be showing off this year's Prize Mule shirt next week as well.
Awesome.
Yay.
Right. Okay, I think that's it. So we'll be here every Tuesday until Comic-Con for SDConCast. We'll bring you all the news, views, and special guests leading up to Comic-Con 2018.
You can sign up for a newsletter. You know what's funny? I actually sent the information to our graphic designer to do one on Sunday. And then I think she spent all of her time doing the buttons, and now it's too outdated. So maybe we'll do one next week.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe.
No promises.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. Carrie, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Carrie Dixon. The other 10 months of the year, this time of year, I'm pretty much just on the blog Twitter. James, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
Everywhere on the internet at Dan Riegel, and you can check out geekshotphoto.com for photography links from my wife and I. And also thank you to Beth, our producer, for putting together the slides, editing the show, and all the other little things that get this podcast done, including doing the 15 million show note links that are having to be done this week.
So much news. We are on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or you can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We're also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you all for listening and watching, and everybody go shawarma. There's no such thing as peak TV. It's all peak shawarma.